For decades, humanity has reported encounters with the unknown. Lights in the sky, craft beyond our understanding, and programs hidden in the shadows. Now, the truth may finally be emerging. This is the Uncovering Anomalies podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. That is I Have a Need to Know, Adam.
What's up, everyone?
And I am Topher in the Nofur. It has been a while since it's just been the you and I recording. And in the time I've been gone, I have actually discovered the truth about UAPs, aliens, and the mysteries of the universe. However, I can't tell you because it would keep you up at night.
Come on, give us a try.
No, I can't tell you. If I told you, no. If I told you, you wouldn't be able to sleep.
Come on, we are grown-ups.
No. It doesn't matter what your beliefs are or if you think you could handle it. Me, as someone who knows, I'm telling you, you can't handle it.
Right, and it's the most important thing, really, for humanity, right? And you're not willing to go to jail for it. It must not be that important, I guess.
No. Oh, it's super important. Trust me. I've got a book that's coming out that I'm writing that you can actually read about the truth.
Really?
I'm not going to tell you exactly what the truth is, but I can hint at it.
Well, wait, was this proof approved by the government, by Topher first?
Yes, yeah, of course. No, I met with all. I met with all of them. Yeah, of course.
Right. Okay, yeah, okay. And yeah, sadly, folks, that is where we are today with disclosure. Is that the whistleblowers that are out there are all intelligence? Well, we're part of intelligence or counterintelligence, or anything to do with the intelligence community. They all have books, and all their books have been approved by Topher. And if you don't know what Topher is, that is the Department of Publishing. Oh, and we lost Topher. Let me push pause, and we'll wait for him to log back in. So their books are approved by Topher, and what Topher does, it makes sure that anything in their book is not classified. So basically, they don't care what's in the book as long as it's not classified. It could be about anything, So that is where we are today, and of course, we've been covering the different tranches that the government has been releasing with UFOs, and its videos. Almost every single one of them could be debunked. Probably a couple, or let's say a handful. Are extremely interesting and strange and anomalous. That's about it. The historical stuff's been good, but nothing on the level that we need, like David Grush level, which we always bring up. I know constantly, but we need to keep pushing that. If the government wants disclosure, it needs to be everything: the crafts, the biologics, the reverse engineering
of all of it. I do have to say, I have found it very interesting that the hype levels behind each release, each tranche has gone just downhill so fast. Like the first one was like, woohoo, let's go. And the second one was like, okay, all right, interesting. And then the third one, I barely heard a peep about it online. People are just kind of like, I think they saw through the facade. There was no, we have to do all the easy stuff first so we can build up to the big reveal. It was just kind of like, all right, peasants, here's your shitty UAP videos. Now leave us alone.
Yeah, and now they have another bureaucracy. Did you see that? So they started a UAP advisory board, and of course they put budget. They put Avi Loeb. Yeah, no budget, no legal authority. Right.
Right.
So that means just narrative. They're trying to shape the narrative, and that's what they have. Avi Loeb and his team, his entire team. Avi Loeb, his entire team. There's only two people on there that's not part of his team, which is Gary Nolan and Gallaudet. So those people are on there. I guess that's cool. I sent you the survey. You did the survey as well.
I did do the survey. I found the survey. I mean, it's a survey. It's whatever. It's a bunch of questions. Honestly, what are your current beliefs and how would you feel about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I sent you a couple of screenshots of some of the pictures that I took of the survey, and the one that made me laugh. How much trust do you have in the government or a governmental agency that released information? And of course, it's like fully trust to not at all, and I had selected not at all.
Yeah, me too. So funny.
Yeah,
I'm sure they got a lot of that.
I'm sure they do, and they've earned it at this point.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
today we are going to do a little quicker episode. Adam and I have something else, a little special plan that I don't know if we're ready to announce yet, but we're going to be working on that for the second half of our time together today, and that will be released whenever. I'm going to do some editing, I think, and we'll let you guys know when it's out. It'll be an
and you never know
thing.
It might the ad revenue from that channel might fund this one,
Yeah, who knows?
You never know how it works.
You never know how it works, but we're excited about that. So today it's going to be a quick episode. We're talking about Holloman Air Force Base and doing a deep dive into the mysteries of the New Mexico Air Force location.
Hell yeah. Let's do I was looking for just a quick summary that we can go over before going into like the different clips about with Emenegger and Sandler and Eric Davis and what's his name? Grant Cameron, the Canadian, who talks about James Fox talks about it. So this has been around. This story has been around in the UFO community for a long time, right?
Yeah, it's deep in the UFO lore.
Yeah, it definitely is, and people have disbelieved it, tried to debunk it, did debunk it. Then now it's back to being true. But yeah, let's get started here. So the Emenegger Sandler saga. The story begins in 1973 when Robert Emenegger and Alan Sandler, two well-connected Los Angeles businessmen, not just businessmen, these people were in the film industry, exactly, were invited to Norton Air Force Base in California to discuss a possible documentary film on advanced research projects. Now, this was the DoD who got in touch with them. Two military officials, one of the base's head of the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, the other the audio-visual director, Paul Schartel, discussed a number of projects. One of them involved UFOs. This one sounded the most interesting, and plans were launched to go ahead with a film on the subject. Emenegger and Sandler were told of a film taken at Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico, in May 1971. In October 1988, in a national television broadcast, Schartel would declare that he had seen the 16-millimeter film showing, quote, 3 disc-shaped craft. One of the craft landed, and 2 of them went away. A door opened, and on the landed vehicle, and 3 beings emerged. Schartel said they were human-sized, they had an odd gray complexion, and a pronounced nose.
Really, really quickly, I want to jump in. The pronounced nose is a weird. So physical descriptors of aliens have kind of always been all over the place. But and we've talked about on different episodes of the show, sometimes the aliens were talked about being short with big noses, or more like the grays that we know today. Right. But during this time, the nose was, maybe it's related to racism or something.
I don't know.
But the nose was often talked about during like the 60s and 70s, and aliens just had this weird appearance and always focused on the nose. No idea why. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Ha boom. I remember reading, it was either Dolan's first national security book or the second one. And he talks about one of the cases, NASA, and they were up in space, the astronauts, and this, this craft comes over, and these beings that are sitting there looking at them, and the ones they talk about, same thing, they have a pronounced nose.
Yeah.
But it was the same time period that you're talking about, 70s.
Yeah. And the other descriptor that is, again, it comes in phases, are the clothes, the tight-fitting jumpsuit.
Yeah.
In this example, very common. Right. Now we see the grays, they're nude usually.
True. Grays.
They got more comfortable with their bodies over the last
So they wore tight-fitting jumpsuits and thin headdresses that appeared to be communication devices, and in their hands they held a translator. A Holloman base commander and other Air Force officers went out to meet them.
So I believe the story goes, this was going to be the beginning of disclosure.
Right.
People who have been studying UFOs and the UAP field for a long time, there have been various different times in American history where quote unquote
Mhm.
disclosure was going to happen. We're in the middle of one right now. There was
Correct.
one in the late 90s, of course, then 9/11 happened.
Right.
And there was one kind of planned around this time. And so the story was they were going to kind of not leapfrog, they were going to use this documentary as a
Mhm.
leaping off point for disclosure, being like, look, here's the footage, you know.
Right.
So
Exactly. And they got pulled. I mean, kind of even something similar to this time where they say they pulled it, like the pastors, saying what the
mhm.
plan was, and that narrative they were going to go with that narrative, and they stopped going with that narrative.
Yeah, just like Building 7, they pulled it.
They pulled it exactly. They
Uh,
just needed to pull it.
Emenegger was led to believe he would be given the film for use in his documentary. He was even taken to Norton and shown the landing site and the building in which the spaceship had been stored, and others, buildings 383 and 1382, in which meetings between Air Force personnel and the aliens had been conducted over the next several days. According to his sources, the landing had taken place at 6 a.m. The
Perfect.
the extraterrestrials were, in quotes, doctors, professional types.
Uh-huh.
Doctor. Their
Doctor,
eyes
doctor.
had vertical slits like a cat's, and their mouths were thin and slit-like with no chins.
Hmm.
All that Emenegger was told of what occurred in the meetings was a single stray fact, that the military people said they were monitoring signals from an alien group with which they were unfamiliar, and did their ET guests know anything about them? The ETs said no. Emenegger's military sources said he would be given 3,200 feet of film taken from the landing. At the last minute, however, permission was withdrawn, although Emenegger and Sandler were encouraged to describe the Holloman episode as something hypothetical, something that would happen or might happen in the future. So
Okay.
they've been teasing this for a very long time.
Right. Yeah. And Close Encounters, for sure
Mhm.
was inspired by this narrative, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and speaking of Spielberg, of course, Disclosure Day just came out, 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah.
And there's some of the, how do I phrase this,
Lore or
footage, quote unquote, found footage that is used in the film that's not real.
yeah,
It's just made for the film,
of
that I
course.
think is a little bit inspired by Holloman, a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So I mean, just not to veer off too much because it is about disclosure, but yeah, we're gonna go on the Bitcoin Live podcast and we're gonna talk about Disclosure Day
Yeah, and we
and
all are going to have a
everything
lot
about
to say about it.
it. All right, let's just continue. So Emenegger went to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where Project Blue Book had been located until its closing in 1969, to ask Colonel George Weinbrenner, one of his military contacts, what had happened. According to Emenegger's account, the exchange took place in Weinbrenner's office. The colonel stood up, walked to a chalkboard, and complained in a loud voice that damn MiG-25. Here, we're so public with everything we have, but the Soviets have all kinds of things we don't know about. We need to know more about the MiG-25. Moving to a bookshelf and continuing his monologue about the Russian jet fighter, he handed Emenegger a copy of J. Allen Hynek's The UFO Experience, 1972, with the author's signature and dedication to Weinbrenner. It was like a scene from a Kafka play, Emenegger would recall, inferring from the colonel's odd behavior that he was confirming the reality of the film while making sure that no one overhearing the conversation realized that was what he was doing. The documentary film's UFO Past, Present, and Future was released in 1974, along with a paperback book of the same title. The Holloman incident is recounted in 3 pages, 127 to 129 of the book's future section.
Now, have you seen this documentary?
Yes, I have actually, and we do have it queued up, but just the part that shows at the end. But yeah, I have. It's the guy. They use the same guy from Twilight Zone. The Twilight
Oh,
Zone.
really?
Yeah.
Of course they did.
Have you seen it?
I have not.
Oh, cool. All right. So we can. I found this today. I have never seen this before. So this is Emenegger in 2008 at X conference. It's saying, and he talks about the story of the entire thing. It's only 4
cool.
minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put I'm going to put captions on so we can read it but I would say put up the volume just to make sure you can hear him. It's obviously it's from 2008, so it's not that. Imagine 2008. It looks that bad. It's not that long ago, is it? Oh wait,
I know, right? See, this is like the weird thing I have in my head about time. Like I always think like, oh, 2001, that's modern ages. And then you go back and watch the footage and you're like, man,
yeah,
when did we land in the future? And I don't think the future happened until like 2010, 2011.
exactly. Yeah, well, it
Yeah.
starts a little bit getting better. The video.
Yeah.
All right, here, let's take a listen to Emenegger here. He says really cool stuff.
My name is Bob Emenegger, and several years ago, when I was Vice President, Creative Director of Gray Advertising, which is a very large agency, I took time out to go on a project in this Department of Defense to bolster the image, which was sagging in the early 70s. So we were exposed to all kinds of projects, like we thought about maybe pulling up the Merrimack with the Navy, or 9 to computer, which they were doing and all that. They took us into a clean room, security, and said, but what would you think if we told you we had a landing at Holloman Air Base of an alien craft? And I thought, my wife used to talk about aliens and UFOs, and I just didn't believe it. But said, well, if you're interested, bury that under all those other projects, and we'll open up a correspondence with the DOD, which they did. So briefly, we went to the Pentagon, didn't sign in. We were led into a room, went up and met with Colonel Bill Coleman, who was Pentagon spokesman, and it began the whole thing. Bill told me, the security risks if you come across things you shouldn't. Then he took us into his inner office and said, I piloted a B-25 over Alabama with a 7-man crew, and he said, I pursued one. I thought, that's interesting. He said, here, someone else that can help you, which is Colonel Weinbrennan, which is the head of foreign technology for the Air Force, and he'll help you further. So I went in up to his desk, and I won't go through what our correspondence was, but he understood exactly what I was talking about. I said, what about the landing at Holloman Air Force Base of an alien craft? Instead of saying, what the hell are you talking about? He didn't. He started talking about other things, Soviets and so forth, and then he said, I have a Hispanic colonel that always makes up stories, the fact that we have little green bodies down in the basement. So the following morning, I got a phone call from Hector Quintanilla, who was one of the heads of Project Blue Book. So it all unfolded that way. All those heads of Project Blue Book that were available were in our program, including the Pentagon spokesman, and also the spokesman, Al Chop, who was in charge when the thing over Washington, D.C., which caused the huge flap. And then the conclusion was the landing at Holloman Air Force Base, which, strangely enough, the film was pulled by the Pentagon, and we never quite saw it. But I did hire Leon Festinger of the New School of Social Psychology to contact 5 leading social psychologists and gave them the scenario of the landing and how it took place and what happened, the exchange that happened. And they were to determine how would the public react. And most things that came back was the public has already believed, 50% of them believed that they were there. And only if there was an extreme case where people were being taken or divided up into family groups, that might be a problem. But then one of the social psychologists who didn't want his name mentioned was the one who said, what we need as a planet is an invasion from an attack from outer space by some alien force so that we could unite as one species and drive the invader away, therefore to live in peace thereafter, which didn't come popping up until the Reagan administration. And I was called in during the Reagan times to develop more things on UFOs at DAVA, that's out on the West Coast, Defense Audio Visual Agency. 2 of the men were Reagan appointees, and we were talking about, and I kept saying, is this something the president wants? They never said anything. I couldn't care. It was their interest or whose interest? That never came to pass, and Caspar Weinberger relieved both of those two men of their duty, and I think it was not because of what we were doing, but because they were going to move Norton Air Force Base and all the film material to another location in Alabama.
So interesting, though. He does say that there's some social engineers, like psychiatrists or psychologists, social engineers they would like to use a threat from outer space, just like what Reagan said, and he did mention kind of Reagan a bit, that if there's a threat from outer space, it will unite humanity and we can live in peace, kind of thing.
I think Bill Clinton said that too. Like I know he was obsessed with the movie Independence Day.
Yeah, and the subject.
Example. Yeah, I mean, I that would be like a president's wet dream, especially nowadays, is quote unquote uniting the world, where actually you just turn into a huge fascist society, a global fascist society.
It would,
under the guise of protection from an interstellar threat or whatever,
which is fake. Yeah, a fake one. And to these people, the social engineers and the globalists and internationalists who run the world, to them it would make sense because they see themselves of managing humanity, and if that's a good way or a good story or efficient way to manage the globe, then they'll do it. True or not, that's the thing, which we have to watch out for that, because that's what disclosure might mean, just by looking at this case here.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah. Well, and this is the whole Project Bluebeam thing. I mean, this is pretty much what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
it's part of it anyway.
This is that show that they announced it on. They called it UFO Live, right? Yeah, or UFO Live, past, present, and future. So here, because what his partner, and James Fox brings this up, his partner saw the real tape. I think it's the guy sitting with him here. So let's take a listen.
Author and filmmaker Robert Emenegger, and former security manager and chief of requirements for the audio-visual program at Norton Air Force Base, Paul Schertl. Gentlemen, Mr. Emenegger.
Okay, so that's Schertl. So Schertl did see the actual footage.
Okay, cool.
Emenegger, how did you get involved with UFOs?
Well, it was in 1973 when I was vice president at Gray Advertising, and I took time out and went to Norton Air Force Base to explore subjects for television specials related to the Defense Department. While discussing several of the subjects, UFOs came up, and Paul here told us about a film of a landing of alien crafts at Holloman Air Force Base about 3 years earlier.
What did you see, Mr. Schertl?
I saw footage of 3 disc-shaped crafts. One of the crafts landed and 2 of them went away.
Why did it land?
It appeared to be in trouble because it oscillated all the way down to the ground. However, it did land on 3 pods. A sliding door opened, a ramp was extended, and out came 3 aliens.
What did they look like?
Well, they were human-sized. They had odd gray complexion and a pronounced nose. They wore tight-fitting jumpsuits, thin headdresses that appeared to be communication devices, and in their hands, they held a translator, I was told. A Holloman base commander and other Air Force officers went out to meet them.
You actually saw these aliens on the film?
Yes.
This film footage sounded very, very special, and we wanted to use it as the ending of our television special.
Did you? Was it in your special?
Well, although the Pentagon had been very, very cooperative all the way, at the last minute, the film was confiscated, and we lost the whole finale of our show. But what I saw and heard was enough to convince me that, the phenomenon of UFOs is real, very real.
Mr. Schertl, what did your superior officers tell you?
I was told it was theatrical footage the Air Force has purchased to make a training film.
Well, that sounds plausible, doesn't it?
Well, if it were a theatrical film, why didn't I have a record of this? It was my job to keep accurate records of all audiovisual purchases.
Is there any other reason that you feel this was not a theatrical film?
Yes, it was too real. The people who were shooting that day were Air Force personnel. Lucky for us, the day they were shooting, they were doing an acceleration test.
Yeah, well, it's too bad we couldn't get that footage from the Air Force. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us today.
And to put the documentary out.
So that's crazy. So so it's so real. The footage is so real that they have to tell him it's a theatrical. But it could be though. It could be theatrical footage. I'm not saying it's not.
Yeah, I definitely could see that actually truly being the case. Because my question is this: of all the aliens, the different races that have been quote unquote documented, we've got your grays, we've got the tall whites, we've got Nordics, we've got mantids, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But human-sized aliens with pronounced noses. I don't know exactly where that fits in the alien panopticon. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and yeah, right. And that you're right. And that if you put it that way, yeah, where do these people fit? But right in the beginning of the show, you were talking about in that era, it was all about pronounced noses.
Yeah. But
so,
I mean, I could see some military general like being the director of this theatrical footage, be like, I don't know, just stick some noses on them.
Yeah, exactly. Make them look alien.
Yeah.
Blue complexion with noses.
Yeah.
And Egyptian headdress.
Right. But it very well could be a matter of perception. If these intelligent beings are not fully in our dimension and are using us as kind of they're basing their physical appearance on the models that we have in our head. I mean, maybe that's just at the time how we perceive them. I don't know.
Right, exactly. Like the gods or Ra, right? The Egyptian god Ra. Yeah, who knows? And maybe that's what that device was. It was like a projection device. So what people perceive, and then that projects that image onto, like they looked hideous, and then that device makes them look, that we don't get scared of them.
We just stare at their noses instead of the 16 eyes they have.
Right, exactly, and all the appendages.
Yeah,
because that would be the reality of it. That would be scary.
Oh yeah,
right. So this is the UFOs Past, Present, and Future 1974 documentary. Interesting how he said that because he works for a PR / advertising agency, and he wanted to help the image of the DoD. He said which was going down, and they're the ones who said, "What about a landing in the in Holloman Air Force Base?" So funny. It's like now Trump is like, man, we're going down in the polls. What are we going to do? They're like, well, why don't you release the UFO files?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
it's the same thing. So here's that part of the movie is at the end, and they are, like they said, that they're just saying, what if in the future we have a landing at one of our Air Force bases? When did Close Encounters come out? 1977.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think it was just towards the end of the 1970s.
So they used him again. The government, like did you see that clip of him saying, I'm not a plant. I'm not a government plant.
Yeah. Always a good sign.
Funny when they tried to push disclosures in the 1970s, he was there. Now they're doing it again. He's there again.
Yeah, and that's not suspicious at all.
No, not at all. All right, so let's watch this classic from 1974. The Holloman Air Force Base encounter.
Tells us that if these extraterrestrial beings were advanced beyond us, we would probably gain technological information from them, that many Americans may worry that their benefactor will demand something in return, constant gratitude or acknowledgement of their superiority. As far as panic is concerned, most of my associates agree that it wouldn't happen unless there were, one, an imminent danger with no escape or chance to protect oneself, and two, it resulted in loss of contact with family or primary groups. And last, there is also the question of longer-term effects. What would happen over many years? One social psychologist suggests...
Sorry about that. It's right here. Here it is.
The possibilities of the future. It seems almost certain that if other beings more advanced than ourselves do inhabit other sectors of the universe, then it's quite probable there will come that day, that moment in time, when official contact will be made. Let's look at an incident that might happen in the future, or perhaps could have happened already. The premise is that contact is made by extraterrestrial beings with representatives of the United States Air Force at Holloman Air Force Base in the deserts of New Mexico. The day is clear. It's about 5:32 a.m. at Holloman Air Force Base. Traffic light. One recon plane is on the field ready for takeoff when Sergeant Mann is given a report of an approaching unidentified craft.
Yeah, Bill, no, nothing on the
I'll repeat it again. Unidentified approaching objects on coordinate 49er, 34 degrees southwest, following Lincoln or
Can I go northeast with the Army?
Probably a stray civilian, maybe. Keep me
informed.
I see him over there. Check with Edwards. Make contact with him, Bill.
This is Holloman Air Force Base Control Tower. identify yourself. What's your tail number? You are encroaching on military airspace. Warning, identify yourself. You're in a restricted military air corridor.
Call the base commander. Base commander's office, Sergeant Whitmore speaking. Yes? Yes, hold on. Colonel, for you.
This is Colonel Horner, yes? Yes, an unidentified vehicle. You warned the aircraft again?
142, turn left, 6040, radar.
Check Edwards? Civilian patrol? Okay, all right. Sound a red alert.
Unidentified aircraft approaching.
Hey, Bill, give me a quick check with Wright Patterson Intelligence. There may be an experimental craft from somewhere, I don't know, here. Alert the fire chief and security and safety.
Two military interceptors are dispatched to escort the unidentified crafts out of the area. During a routine photographic mission, a tech sergeant and staff sergeant of the base photographic team were aboard a helicopter at the time and run off several feet of film of the three objects, one of which breaks away and begins a descent. A second high-speed camera crew on the ground runs off approximately 600 feet. The cameras continue to roll as the extraordinary vehicle comes into view. It hovers, almost silently, about 10 feet off the ground for nearly a minute and yaws like a ship at anchor, then sets down on 3 extension pads. Commander and 2 officers, along with 2 base Air Force scientists, arrive and wait apprehensively. A panel slides open on the side of the craft. Stepping forward, 1, then 2, and a third, what appear to be men dressed in tight-fitting jumpsuits, perhaps short by our standards, with an odd blue-gray complexion, eyes set far apart, a large, pronounced nose. They wear a headpiece that resembles a rope-like design. The commander and the 2 scientists step forward to greet the visitors. Arrangements are made by some sort of communication, and the group quickly retires to an inner office in the King 1 area. Left behind stand a stunned group of military personnel. Who the visitors are, where they're from, and what they want is unknown.
Okay,
the audio is terrible.
Well, this is a film from 1974, but I have to say, I hope to God that if aliens are landing at our military bases, the military isn't just sounding sirens obnoxiously the entire time. Talk about appearing aggressive.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, aliens. Nice to meet you. Try to ignore the loud blaring in the background.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like, just be calm, be cool. Like, you don't need to have all the lights on and shit.
Yeah. And then launching airplanes at them and escorting them and like all that. It's like, dude.
It's like walking up to someone like both hands with guns. You got grenades around your belt and the big flashing light in your head. Like, oh no, I'm peaceful. Don't worry. It's like, well, it sure doesn't look that way.
Did they do the same thing in Contact, Close Encounters?
Well, no, that was different because they were like do.
Yeah, that's right.
They were communicating with lights and sounds. They didn't just have a constant siren going. I don't think so. It's been a while since I've seen Close Encounters, but
yeah, exactly. And they didn't send like any escorts or anything like that.
Right. But at the end of the day, it is the U.S. military. Every chance they get, they want to scramble the jets.
I mean, it's a crazy story, right? And Holloman has so many UFO incidents, which we'll see later. Project Blue Book alone cataloged, like, I think hundreds in Holloman Air Force Base. Obviously, there's nukes there. It's in New Mexico as well.
Yeah, and there's also to the northwest, there's a little town called Socorro that had a very famous sighting that we talked about.
Yes, exactly. And that's what we did a deep dive a couple of weeks ago with the article you wrote. And that is perfect because that is how James Fox heard about the Holloman Air Force Base thing. He said he was investigating Socorro.
Really?
Yes. And that they were down there investigating the case, and then there was a journalist by the name of Carol. I forget her name now, but she started the organization APRO, or one of the people that started APRO.
Mm-hmm.
And they wrote about the Holloman Air Force Base incident back then. I searched, I could not find her article about that. I'm sure it's somewhere, but you know, the internet is always changing. I should have checked archive. But yeah, and that's what got him interested in it. And that's what this yeah.
Interesting.
So same thing as you know.
Yep.
And what led us to this episode really is your Socorro investigation.
That's exactly how it happened. We were talking about it, and we had mentioned during that episode that Holloman was not that far away, and we decided right then and there we should do a deep dive on Holloman.
Exactly. So so let's listen to James Fox here. He's going to talk about the journalist, the APRO journalist who was writing about this.
And I come across these articles in the UFO Bulletin by a woman named Corral Lorenzen. Excuse me if I don't pronounce her name correctly, but she was writing articles about a landing that happened at Holloman right around the same time. Very, very credible reporter. She was thought in the UFO community be very credible. Like if she put something out there, it was thoroughly researched and there was substance to it. So I read one article, and she had, I think, some military officials that were interviewing. They might have been anonymous, and then another one was a pilot. So it's two separate articles about this landing at Holloman. So that was pretty much the first credible time I'd really heard about it, right? Because I just quickly dismissed it in the past. Well, I'm going, all right, well, I'm investigating a case, the landing case in Socorro. Holloman is just a stone's throw away from Socorro, where the crow flies. I believe that the creatures, you know, that Socorro happened. It was the case that turned around Hynek. Why not have cameras rolling and have it happen just, you know, at White Sands or Holloman Air Force Base, which is really close by? So I was open to it. Then I watched, I'll give you the truncated version. I watched the documentary UFOs Past, Present, and Future by Emenegger and Alan Sandler. And that talks about an event that may have happened or that could happen, may have already happened, or maybe it, you know, or it could happen. And that was about the landing and in Holloman Air Force Base, and that the beings got out and interacted with the base commanders. So I was like, this is interesting. They had
when you say may have happened or could happen,
that's the way they phrased it in the film.
Okay, so they're being a little like, you know, truth.
Yeah, it was like, you know, this might have happened already.
Yeah.
Or maybe it will happen.
A little plausible deniability.
Yeah, you know. And everything else was so carefully choreographed in the movie. They had unprecedented cooperation with active and retired military personnel going on to Air Force bases. Like these guys, something was up with that movie during that time, and they had unprecedented access. So anyway, so then I get in touch with the filmmakers, Emenegger.
It's weird, man. It's like it reminds me of like Age of Disclosure, because they kind of gave him unprecedented access. I mean, well, to individuals to interview, and you know, not like these guys videos and stuff. But there's parallels there, right? And then the whole Spielberg thing right after that.
Yep.
Because Age of Disclosure came out first, and then Disclosure Day came out after that. So it's like these it's like these documentaries come out first, and then they bring out the movie, and then what the government's trying to do, it's like they're trying to help their image.
Or a more cynical view is you put out the real stuff first, and then before it can be fully digested and understood, you put out the Hollywood version, and so it all gets conflated. And so, what that happened? No, that was just part of that movie.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And then you can shape it. They love the confusion. They just love confusion.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation that the movie is even called Disclosure Day. So when people look up, you know, UFO disclosure, what's the first thing that pops up?
Yeah,
Spielberg movie.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, good point. Good point.
Be him, and he's like, yeah, that, you know, that event really happened. We were gonna get the video and feature it in the film, and then the last minute they pulled it, whatever. And so then I'm talking to Alan Sandler about it, and this is going on over a couple of year period. And Alan's like, well, I saw the film. Excuse me? You what? He goes, I saw the film. I said, the one at Vandenberg Air Force Base with the the landing at Holloman. I said, you saw the film. And I was driving my car, and what I do a lot of times is I like to close my eyes and listen to words and have those words recreate the imagery in my brain. So it's almost like I'm reliving the experience through them, right?
Yeah.
So I pull the car over. I said, Alan, what did you see? I need every detail. Like, what did it look like? He goes, it might have been a training video. I don't know, but it was a real flying saucer. And there were 3 flying saucers that came in over the base. It was, I don't know what time of day, but it was daylight. And the film, there was film of 3 discs at a relatively high altitude coming in over the base, and then 2 peel away, and they were escorted by military jets, and then 1 comes down. And he said it was like a leaf almost. He thought it was in trouble the way it was flying, but I've heard that description from a lot of people that it kind of
flutters, like
floats down like that, right? So that he described it. He said it was kind of floating, and he's like, well, it looked like it might have been in trouble. And I'm thinking to myself, I've heard that before, the way it's coming down. So it comes down. He goes, it landed, and he goes, James, it was just like a sci-fi movie. Those doors just open, and there's no seam or anything. He said that's what it looked like. It opened and dropped, and then 2 individuals, beings, aliens, whatever you want to call them. This is according to Alan Sandler. He told me this. They came out and they flanked the stairs on either side, and then the main guy got out, and he had like a Egyptian. He described it as Egyptian. The description in the film is very similar, and a being with big eyes and vertical slits, tall, Egyptian hair or head gear, I don't know, vertical eyes, vertical slits, big eyes, big nose, mouth almost non-existent, little slit, very small chins, and came out and he said he had a device that he thought was an interpreter.
It does seem kind of Hollywood, huh? I mean, it's going to be weird if it's really real aliens and a real encounter, obviously. But it still seems very Hollywood.
It does. It does. Seem, yes, absolutely. And I think it's one of those chicken or the egg things first. Like, does Hollywood portray this way because that's how it was in real life, or is it just all fake because it is all essentially Hollywood? But I mean, the motion of the craft, which when were we talking about, like a leaf on the wind? When we fluttering. I mean, that's very common with the UFOs.
True. So that production company would have to fake that first, because even Shardle, who he's talking to, said it could have been a training video. He said, but he said it was that real, right? But a training video for what? Just to get them acclimated to something in case that event happens, so they don't get freaked out, kind of thing.
It's kind of like, I remember that, I think it was a CIA file that got leaked a couple of years ago that was like instructions for what to do during a zombie invasion. Like, it's just the government preps for everything because they've got infinite money and infinite resources. So why not spend the dough? But it is, I do find it bizarre that the guy who's in charge of keeping track, Shardle, who's in charge of keeping track of all of the stuff, didn't have that information.
Exactly.
Unless, if you again want to go the cynical route, he's in on it,
Yeah, he's in on it. Or if it was like a White House thing to a PR thing, he's not involved in it. It could be an SAP or something, some kind of special access program to help the DoD look better, and he just wasn't part of that
right
deal.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows?
I mean, again, it's a possibility. Shirtle, he's the only guy that's seen it that we have access to, and he's the one that says yes, but he's got lots of questions about it.
To help communicate, and that they met with military officers, and then they got into a Jeep, and then they went off, and then the film just ended with the disc just sitting there on the base. And Paul Shardle at Norton Air Force Base showed it to him because Paul got a call from a guy named Colonel Coleman. It was a guy I interviewed who was public relations at the Pentagon in the 70s. I interviewed Coleman about it, and his story, his recollection. But anyway, he had called, I guess, the base. Hey, these guys are doing a documentary on UFOs. Cooperate, give them access, whatever. Not realizing that Paul Shartle had just processed some film of this landing at Holloman. So Paul happens to show it to Alan, and Bob wasn't there that day at Norton Air Force Base. And men in suits either later that day or the very next morning showed up, confiscated the footage, and said, "Don't ever talk about it." And
do you know who the men in suits work for?
No idea. I'm just telling what he told me. And Paul Shartle, a few years later, was involved with a head-on collision with him and his wife. He was dead.
Oh, Jesus.
And so he's gone. Paul Shartle did go on a TV show. You can Google it, with Bob Emenegger talking about it.
Are you conspiratorial at all about the head-on collision? Or?
I mean, it's a bummer.
Definitely a bummer.
Yeah.
But
and then Alan didn't tell Bob Emenegger. And then when Alan told me, I've actually got video footage of it somewhere. I did and Bob's dead now. Bob Emenegger's dead, but I did an extended interview with Bob Emenegger.
This craft came in. There were 3 of them. One of them wobbled down to the ground and landed, and apparently the base was alerted to it and went out to meet it. And this craft door opened, and 3 normal looking, no, they weren't normal looking, but short, 5 foot high people came out with sort of a blue-gray complexion, and they had some sort of a headgear on, and he's describing this to us.
Wait, did he say 5 foot? Anyway, but Emenegger's not the guy who saw it. Maybe he's old here and he forgot, but he said 5 foot.
I did notice earlier I guess it was the clip from the documentary. So whoever was talking had said they look to be about human size, or maybe a little bit shorter to the human eye.
Okay.
But I mean, like, even 5 foot is not gray height.
No, they're 4.5, I think, at the tallest, right?
Yeah, that's my understanding.
Yeah. And these weren't grays. I mean, they're supposed to be kind of Nordics, I guess. If they have those noses. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
humanoid.
I don't know. By the way, did you see the sorry, kind of off topic. Did you see like the fake pictures that were quote unquote leaked of Trump meeting the Nordics in the backyard of the White House?
Yeah. We played those last week, and all the all the memes after that. Yeah, they had one with like Rubio.
Yeah. Oh man, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad people are having fun with this.
Yeah. I mean, why would Trump even put that up and then delete it? I mean, it's just, he can get so embarrassing sometimes.
He really can.
But I support him in this peace effort. And everyone who's not supporting that, fuck you.
Yeah, I agree with you. I was going to make a joke, and I was doing the math in my head, and I was like, nah, that's not going to fly.
Hey, everything's flying these days, it seems.
Yeah, but better be on the safe side. I'd like to turn this into a career,
All right, nice. All right, here's Emenegger continuing with his recount of the Holloman Air Force Base incident.
So Alan, I get on the phone. Was I in Florida? Anyway, I got him on the phone and I said, Bob, did you know that your partner, the guy you did the movie with, saw the landing footage at Holloman Air Force Base? And he didn't know. And Alan never told me. He's like, well, you never told. Anyway, I got the 2 of them talking on the phone about it. But Alan,
wait, sorry, I gotta stop. We saw that old footage from the 70s. He was sitting next to him. The guy said, like, I saw the footage at that interview. But that's fine. He's old,
whatever.
Maybe, right? Okay.
Swears up and down that he saw that footage.
What did you see on the film? Was it color? Was it black and white? Was it
black and white?
It was black and white.
When I saw me as black, my friend, but it was nothing other than what we said in the book. We see this thing, this round thing, and it wasn't that stable. Funny part, and it landed, and a door opened, and guys come out looking like they were outer space guys.
I think about if I could I sway a jury at this point? I don't know, but based on the research that I've done on the Holloman landing case, I kind of believe it happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to believe. I once again, I'm always going to be on the I believe it's real side. The I want to believe, that's always going to be me.
Yeah.
I do think there's a lot of stuff in here that lends to the false information, tactic that the government has been proven to use over and over again.
Yeah.
But I just think it's one of those things where there's a kernel of truth in there somewhere.
There is, especially, you have Eric Davis, who talked to former President George H.W. Bush, who told him the story when he took over the reins of the CIA. And he said that one of the guys who were briefing him, for some reason, thought he knew about Holloman, but then started telling him about it. Now, was Senior Bush lying? Yeah, maybe. That's the thing with this subject.
I know, man. It's one of those things where it's like, you're telling me all of these high-level people that worked in government are all being told by someone else to go ahead and lie to people about it. That's a pretty vast network of conspiracy. I mean, it's possible. Yeah.
It's possible. Right. Exactly. And it is possible. But why?
Yeah, exactly. Why? Especially if they're not, like, if the U.S. government was actively restricting our rights, which they are, but I'm saying if they were actively restricting our rights and using the excuse of, we're protecting you against the aliens, then I would understand all this. But they're not really like using that information to their benefit.
No, they're definitely not. Right, exactly. And they're not saying that we're protecting you. And now we have the technology to protect you humans from being abducted from these demonic aliens. They're not saying any of that stuff.
Exactly. So yeah, man, who gains from this big of a lie? And I don't know if there's a real answer to that.
Yeah. Well, so this this is Eric Davis, and he's talking about speaking to the former president about
HW.
About this exact incident.
So anyway, he heard about that, and one thing led to another, and he said, "Oh, by the way, we have two honorary chairmen of the board of AFIO. One of them is George Herbert Walker Bush, and he's got a story about UFOs that you may want to hear. It'll probably knock your socks off, actually." And so he arranged for the connection to be made. I got in contact with him by phone, with former President Bush by phone. And just to be sure, when I say President Bush or former President Bush, I'm referring to the senior, not the junior, not W, but George Herbert Walker Bush, and GHWB. And so we had a series of phone calls where he would call me a lot, and he'd be in transit somewhere, and he would have some time to chat with me. And so we would probably have about 20, 30 minutes to chat, maybe even less, several times. And I would cover a lot of the significant topics. Now, the points of focus here was his induction his confirmation as the new CIA director in the Ford administration. And so he's now the incoming CIA director, and he's now being officially briefed by his directorate chiefs. Those are the deputy director of the Directorate of Intelligence, Science and Technology, operations, this and that and the other thing. And so during one of his briefings, he meets with his DOD liaison officer. And his DOD liaison officer is a uniformed officer who was not identified to me. I don't know what rank the man was, but he's uniformed service. And he comes over from the Pentagon because he liaisons in his job serving the Secretary of Defense. And actually, back in those days, he would have been in Chris Mellon's old job. He would have been the assistant deputy secretary of defense for intelligence. I think that's the title. But that was the number 3 man or number 3 position in all of the DOD's structure. So this guy worked for that individual, and his job is to liaison with the CIA director or any of his subordinates that he designates. So Bush is getting read in to get up to speed on everything. He's starting his new job at the CIA, and the liaison officer mistakenly thought that Bush had been read in on the UAP subject. And so he started blabbing off about the latest on that. And Bush said, "No, wait a minute. What are we talking about here?" And the liaison officer told him, "I thought you had been briefed on this by your senior staff." And he said, "No, actually, I haven't been briefed on that topic, if yet." yet, or if at all. I have not. And so the liaison officer then had already let loose the information. So he went ahead and completed the rest of that briefing. And that's when Bush learned about a landing at an Air Force base in New Mexico by a UFO, humanoid type, non-human intelligence came off the craft and actually met with uniformed senior Air Force officers and some civilian CIA personnel. And they went off.
And you're referring to an event that is often just called the Holloman landing.
The
Holloman Air Force Base in April of 1964.
That's right. And that was, and what was interesting about that was one of two of my topics, is because that scenario came up in Bob Emenegger and Adam Sandler's documentary film that I believe was aired on CBS in 1974, UFOs. I believe the title, It Has Begun. I might have it backwards. They reissued that documentary back in later, like 1976, 77, and they expanded it by so many more minutes and added Jacques Vallée as a co-host. And so in both of those versions of the documentary, they brought up the Holloman landing film as a hypothetical scenario of U.S. government contact with ET. And Emenegger had a companion book with that documentary, and it was by the same title as the original first documentary of 74. And there's a chapter in that book that was authored by a former Army psychologist, a psychological warfare expert. And so the surrounding story that I learned through many people in the government, retired, was that was not supposed to be a scenario. It was planned that part of that documentary was going to air the landing film, the film that was taken by a helicopter crew that was on its way out of Holloman to White Sands Missile Base, because they were going to record some flight testing of missiles. And so they got called by the traffic control tower to turn right back around, get to the runway ASAP. There's going to be 3 craft coming in of unknown origin, and start filming it. So that's what they did. They hovered somewhere nearby the runway, and they saw the 3 craft come in, and one of the 3 craft landed. The other 2 craft took off, and they filmed somebody coming off that craft and going to meet the aforementioned uniformed Air Force and civilian CIA personnel. And that was described to be, and Bush confirmed this. So Bush said his liaison officer from the Pentagon told him this in detail. So he confirmed all of what I just said. The NIH being looked Nordic, like Northern Europe, big, tall guy, white. He had some kind of a metal fabric one-piece suit on. He had an apparatus over his face. His face looked humanoid, and they thought that might have been a breathing apparatus because probably he couldn't breathe our air. And then he had an object in his hand that looked like a staff. They were speculating that was a translator. You couldn't see him talking, but maybe it was telepathic, and the translator turned it into electronic voices. Who knows? This is just speculation. And this is what Bush was told, but Bush was told that it was a matter of fact. And the problem is Bush really got heavily interested in this, and he wanted to know more. And he asked for the files, the records, and to see the film. And the liaison officer told him, "I'm sorry, Mr. Director, but you don't have access to that information. You can get access to that information if something happens with the CIA such that this topic comes up, and you need to take a specific action that requires a presidential authority. Then what you'll need to do is call the president's national security advisor. He is the point of contact for everything UAP in the White House. So his job is to connect you up with the president, to arrange for you to give a briefing so that you could tell the president what the issue is, and that you'll need the president's official decision so that you can carry out an action in response to whatever the UFO incident is." That's what Bush told me he was told by the liaison officer.
So Eric, I'm gonna jump in.
Whoa, that's crazy. So Bush told him that the national security advisor is the one who's head of everything UAP, which is now Rubio. You know,
spill the beans. Well, I mean, if the structure is still the same as it was back then,
right? True. Yes, exactly. But you know, Rubio is in the age of disclosure. He's been always very interested in this subject. Many people went to him when he was a senator. Many people also say that he's the one behind this effort of disclosure. Maybe,
Well,
I don't know. You know, I just know that people are flawed. I don't like Rubio on his foreign policy and stuff. But you know, when he speaks, a lot of the times I agree with the guy.
you know, and I think that's a healthy way to approach any politician.
Yeah.
You don't have to, 100% hate or 100% love any kind of politician. You can like and dislike some of their things. But when you blindly, fully support someone or fully go against them just because of one thing, it's how we got so divided. Republican versus Democrat. Not to get too political, it's just
no. And I think we forget people are human, right? Even people that we love, that we are close to. There are things that we don't agree with them. Doesn't mean we don't love them.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
100%.
It's just humans are just flawed. Nobody is going to be perfect. No one's going to have all of your ideals, in that one person. It's just impossible. It's just impossible. That's never going to be something. Trump's that way, right? You can see, across the spectrum, how you have people that hate the guy, love the guy, hate the guy, love the guy, and that's the reason he's very flawed.
Absolutely. The only people I strongly actively dislike in politics are the ones that are clearly reptilians.
Yes,
the ones that are very obviously wearing human skin suits.
Like Bill Gates, maybe might be one of them.
Mitch McConnell.
Oh, definitely Mitch McConnell. Yeah, Mitch McConnell. Schumer. People won't like that I say that, but Schumer is. I don't know. He's been there for a long time.
Yeah. I don't trust any of those long timers. But
so, what do you think? What do you think about this case?
I think something happened in 1974 at Holloman Air Force. Or I'm sorry, that was the documentary. 1960, what was it, 67? No.
Yep.
67. 64. Whenever. No, I do think something happened at Holloman Air Force Base. I do think once that story got out, the government has done a lot of spreading misinformation to confuse and mix up the story. I think the description of the aliens is likely one of those things. Even Eric Davis was talking about them looking like Nordics. I think the Egyptian headdress and staff, I think that kind of stuff is disinformation, because you will see, there's a lot, of course, now, conspiracy theory, there's a lot of links to, who built the pyramids? It was aliens, that kind of stuff. And there's been a lot of potential hypothetical links between the Egyptians and UFOs and stuff like that. And so why not throw some of that stuff in there? Why not do, some things like this or that?
What do you think? Yeah. What do you think? Like, I agree with you that the government is trying to do misinformation. But what do you think that this thing actually happened? But then they filmed a fake one, right?
It could be.
With a Hollywood crew or whatever to show these filmmakers and to put it out into the documentary. But then scrapped it.
Yeah,
that's what's really has been out there, and not the real one.
I do think. I think the Skinny Bob footage is something very similar.
Yes, it reminds me of that. Yeah.
Where I don't think any of the Skinny Bob footage that we've seen is real, but I do think it is very closely based on something that somebody saw that was real.
Yeah.
I think Holloman, I think you're spot on. I think it's something very similar to that, where I don't think Shartle saw real footage.
Right.
I think he saw a recreation, but I think something did happen there. And that's that again, of course, is where you can throw in, if you're doing the recreation, instead of little gray aliens with big heads coming out, you just put some humans with nose masks on, and throw them out there, and you say, oh, look, those are the aliens.
I mean, dude, if Bush wasn't given access to it, why would Sherrill get access to it? Right?
I love how Bush just accidentally got UAP information.
I know, it's amazing. It's so cool.
For like as secretive and covert as our government is, I mean, it's obviously just full of idiots.
They're human.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Maybe that's
but
why they want
I
AI.
love it. I hope that happens to me someday. I hope I'm walking through an FBI or a CIA office and all of a sudden someone goes, "Oh, hey, I've got paperwork for you," and they think I'm someone else and they hand me a folder full of alien documents. And you know what? I'm not going to be like George H.W. Bush. I'm not going to be like, "Oh, I'm not cleared for this." I'll be like, "Oh, okay, thank you, Agent Smith. I'll see you next week." Whatever. I'll see you next week on the island where we rape kids, and then I'll just not keep that to myself.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, that's such a funny thing. And like I love goofy ass stories like that. Like I love the Nixon showed Jackie Gleason the alien story. Like again, it's just one of those stupid things where I was drunk hanging out with the president and he flew me over to the Air Force Base.
Yeah, we were golfing and drunk.
Yeah, like it just it just goes like the government can be the most secretive, like secret agent bullshit, but it just takes one idiot who's a little bit tipsy to be like, and here are the aliens.
I was just gonna say it's usually alcohol. Like, what's his name? Project not Avalon. I forget now. It's but he has undercover people. Like usually chicks go on dates with like government people. Avatar, not Avatar.
No, I think they even shut down, but it was a couple years ago. They were big news. I remember. I know who you're talking about. Yeah, they were like going on dates with like CEOs and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that. It's like just feed them some drinks, and all of a sudden, the secrets just spill out.
Yeah,
but
it's on that route. If you're bringing hot girls, if you're sending hot girls on dates, obviously the person's going to boast and make up stuff because we're dudes. That's what we do. Yeah,
there's that as well. But this is just, of course, our government has met with aliens. Of course, our government has agreements with them. It's just, is this ever really going to come out where it's not stories anymore?
I just, from the bottom of my heart, wish that the aliens would bypass the government.
Yeah, the thing is, they have the nukes. We don't.
Appeal to the people. Yeah, I know. That's why when Adam and I finally get our hands on a nuclear weapon, we're not going to use it, of course. It's just so we can talk to the aliens.
It's just bait. It is just bait. Just like when you put a shrimp on a... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool, man. So let's wrap this up. It'll be... we haven't had an hour show in a couple of years, I think. But let's test this out and see how it works.
Yeah, well, we want to thank all of you for listening. Hope you enjoyed the Holloman Air Force deep dive. That is I Have a Need to Know, Adam.
That's right, everyone. And you can follow us on X, formerly Twitter. I'm at Breakaway Civil, and Topher is at Topher et al. And the podcast is at UAP the Podcast. And of course, if you found us on any podcasting platform, we're on all of those, all the video platforms. Including YouTube, Rumble, BitChute, Odyssey, all of that. So give us a like, give us a follow, give us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing. And yeah, I guess that's all I have for this week.
Awesome. Well, tell a friend about the show. Give us a like, comment if you would. Yeah, I mean, I always say go to YouTube just because that's where the money is. But listen to us where you want to. I'm not going to get upset either.
Right, and that's where the exposure is really for us, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But we do appreciate you all so much for checking in, listening to the show, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers and father figures out there. Hope you guys had an excellent one, including you, Adam.
Thank you very much.
And that is it from us at the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. We'll see you all next week.
Message in the static, a shadow in the dark, a light against the stars, a podcast from afar. It's Adam and Topher, we come in peace.
What?
Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, where the truth is told until the last. Listen to our words and hear our voices. We can't save you, but present your choices. A message in the static, a shadow in the dark, a light against the stars, a podcast from afar. Adam and Topher. We come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast, where the truth is told until the last. Listen to our words and hear our voices. We can't save you, but present your choices. We can't save you, but present your choices. We can't save your choices. We can't save you, present your choices. Present your choices. We can't save you. We can't save you, but present your choices.